Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sacred Timings with Swati. Today, we are going to be talking about the transit of Mars in Gemini. Life Force revealed. So, let's get started. A quick recap before we dive into what's coming up ahead with Mars in Gemini. We have some pretty incredible and activating energies that have been infusing the planet and activating all through August, and that's going to continue through September. And this equinox that's coming up is a key equinox. So we want to really utilize this energy to align to our highest path. And all of these energies coming in have been, they're really creating the foundation for a new reality to present and for us to be able to get in touch with that reality and actually experience it. Walking consciously through this time is so key. We have Mercury retrograde in that time in that time frame where Mercury is retrograde, and this is an opportunity to uplevel our perception of what new Earth is like, as well as our communication and how are we expressing. We also have Venus approaching the underworld, and Venus meets the Sun exact on October 22nd. So, this is really a time of purification, of purging what is not aligned, and being very consciously um, aware of what is falling away from our life and what changes need to be made. And Mars is in transition from the Aries focus to the Gemini focus. So Mars has already entered Gemini, and that gives us a sneak peek into what the next 2 year cycle of Mars is going to be like. So, a good time to notice where you're being called to make change in your life and uplevel the action that moves your life forward. So, let's talk about Mars. Now, Mars is a personal planet, and it's actually a very significant personal planet because it represents our life force energy and our capacity to move our life. So, of all the three of the personal planets, we have Mercury, which represents our mental realm, our intellect, our perception, our expression. Venus represents the feminine side in each one of us and our desires, our true values in life. And Mars represents the capacity to move our life in the direction of those values, in the direction of those soul desires. And so it represents the quality of action, the masculine energy in each one of us. And the quality of masculine energy, that is really up for renewal with every Mars cycle, it's up for renewal. Now, the higher perspective of this transit is that even though Mars has entered Gemini for the next 7 months, it's going to retrograde there. But the sign that it retrogrades in, that sign has a deep impact for the next 2 years. That means the entire Mars cycle is going to be focused on that energy. And in this case, it's Gemini. So, the higher perspective of this Mars transit is that, firstly, because it lasts more than 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years, it is not your ordinary Mars transit, and it really um, is worth paying attention to. It has a deeply activating effect on our life because Mars is how we take action. And so, where you are being called to take action, we want to be use that intention very wisely and utilize this time period very wisely because that is where we are going to be headed towards. That action, the action that we take, it creates our experience. So, we want to utilize this transit of Mars to understand what is being called for renewal, what is up for renewal in our life, and take action in the aligned direction rather than being all over the place. So before we dive into Mars's Gemini cycle, I want to quickly review the previous Mars and Venus cycles because they have such a big impact on uh, the direction ahead. So the current Mars cycle emphasized the sign of Aries, and it ran from October 2020 and it'll complete on December 2022 when Mars is opposes the Mars opposes the Sun. Now, this deep dive into the Mars cycle, I have learned this from the shamanic astrology mystery school paradigm, and you can check out their website for more information about this. But it's a very unique way of looking at the Mars cycle, and I've really found that it has helped me in a beautiful way to uplevel my own masculine energy and the way I work with Mars in my own life. So the current Mars cycle emphasizes the Aries archetype. And take a look at where does Aries fall in your chart, to take a look at how this current cycle has impacted you so that you can be more conscious of what changes to make going ahead. Now, how has the Aries area of your life transformed in the past 2 years? So, likely if you have active Aries, like if you have planets in Aries or if you have Sun, Moon, any of the planets, but also ascendant and the nodes and the angles in your chart in Aries, then that area of your life has deeply transformed. It has undergone a lot of change in the last 2 years. Now imagine that kind of action, that kind of change applying to the Gemini part of your life, which is what the next Mars cycle is about. So that is one clue as to how you can experience a transit. It doesn't have to be the same way, but when we are conscious of what changes we've made so far and conscious of where we want to go, we can really utilize this energy to uplevel our life in all ways. Now, another clue to how this might play out is take a look at the Gemini part of your life, and the Venus cycle, the previous Venus cycle ran from June of 2020 to January 2022, and that Venus cycle emphasized the sign of Gemini. So, what got activated? What desires got activated during that time? What personal values came to the forefront during that time? What was awakened during that Venus cycle between June of 2020 to January of 2022? Now, Mars is going to take those desires and those priorities and those values, and it'll activate action and movement in exactly that area of your life. So these are some clues as to how this can impact your own life by taking a look at your chart. So let's talk about Mars and Gemini. So now the archetype Mars is in, that retrogrades in and that forms the theme of the next cycle, that archetype undergoes a major transformation during the cycle of Mars. Now, in this case, it's going to be Gemini and it will run from December 2022 to January of 2025. So, even though Mars has entered Gemini, it is still in the last few months of the Aries cycle. So, anytime when we have a planetary cycle that spans several months to, this is in this case, it's a little bit more than 2 years. Um, it is up for major transformation, and that means that we will probably experience the shadow of it first before we experience the highest essence of it. And it takes a little bit of work to transmute that shadow and experience the highest essence and have that intent of experiencing the highest qualities of Gemini. So, one of the things we want to watch out for are all the shadow qualities of Gemini, which may get amplified in the next several months, which is lack of focus, noise. Gemini shadow is distraction. There's just so much confusion and so many different choices that we get paralyzed analyzing millions of choices and then not take action. Some of the shadow types qualities of Gemini can also be exaggeration, where the information is just blown out of proportion, too much mind activity that leads to anxiety, focus on the information, too much focus on the mental realm, on the intellect, at the detriment of other areas of our life can also show up. So watch for this, particularly with, we have so many distractions in the world these days, so much news coming in from the external world that it can be exhausting to interact with that. So, this is an opportunity to transform the shadow and make worthwhile progress in the Gemini area of your life. So, if we do want to make progress amidst all the distraction, then we have to be very conscious of where our energy is being put towards. So, being aware of being stuck in the mind too much, wanting mindful, wanting stories and entertainment, getting caught up in stories, in the external stories, looking for information all the time, all of these things can easily just drain our life force energy. And rather than taking action towards the things that really matter to us, we may get stuck in the mind. So, this picture here of the blank slate with the arrow is actually very key, and it gives a clue. We have an opportunity to write the story of our life and then move in the direction of that rather than get caught up in the stories, rather than get caught up in the information and the news and all of that. So, this is something definitely to watch out for where the shadow is concerned. Now, let's talk about some of the positive aspects of the transit and how you can amplify the positive. So, Mars being the personal planet that represents the masculine energy, it it really speaks to the life force energy that we have, and that can up level and amplify if you are aware of the transit and how it's playing out in your own life. If you're aware of how um, of what kind of triggers may come up, and if you're responding to it consciously, then you can really amplify the life force energy. Backing yourself up with committed, aligned action is something that can come out of this transit. The capacity and commitment to move your life in the direction that you want can be amplified as well. So, this is an opportunity to focus on these qualities, on inviting forth these qualities. And one thing to watch out for is that one of the shadow aspects of Gemini is that it does not like to dive into emotions. So, the highest essence of Gemini is a higher vibration, but it also means that when it gets triggered, it may try to escape that, and it may be hesitant to dive into the emotions, which then drain our life force energy. So, um, one of the things that's required of us to work consciously with this transit is to have the courage to dive into the emotions and transmute them. And mutability and change are one of the qualities of Gemini that are beautiful and can be employed in at this time, not having an attachment to a specific outcome, but being flexible and being open to change and curious to see how things turn out. Taking action, but being open to how that works out, at least for the foreseeable future, because that can allow us to not get caught into one reality and then get stuck there. Now, one of the highest aspects of Gemini is its capacity to uplevel vibration. That's what Gemini is all about. It lifts the heaviness, it lifts what is heavy into something light and fun. And monitoring and adjusting our vibration is going to be an important skill to build up during this time, as well as learning new skills to raise your vibration no matter what. So, learning skills to stay centered and grounded no matter what is going on in the outside world, just making a higher vibration your default state. This is going to be a beautiful opportunity the next 2 years to um, raise our skills in that area. And then choosing our new story, writing our new story based on that uplifted vibration rather than stories of the old and from a lower state. So the higher essence of Gemini is its capacity to come out of of duality, realizing that it's all an illusion. And that's one of the most beautiful things, to be able to be in that neutral state by making everything a joke. That's what Gemini is really good at. Okay, so now given that Gemini is an air sign, and it's likely that the shadow of Gemini might imply that it's very easy to get stuck in the mind. One of the things that's going to be really important to do on a regular basis to utilize this energy is to be able to ground. It can be very easy to get caught up in the shadow of Gemini and just be in the mind. And our capacity to ground and connect to the earth, that balance is going to be really needed, because focusing only on the mind or the intellect can be detrimental. And it can lead to stagnation and just drive us crazy because we're not able to move our life in the direction that we want to. The other thing with the Gemini activation is that, particularly if you have planets in Gemini, then it's going to ignite, this cycle will ignite a ton of ideas for you. And so you want to ground those ideas, write it down, bring them into a physical form, and also have that strong connection to the earth energy, because ultimately our body is through how, it's through our body that we create this life. So being only in the mind or emphasizing the mind at the impact at the cost of the other areas of our life may not be the best thing for us. Getting physical, that means paying attention to the body, is also going to be important. Directing your mental energy to the body, moving it, having a regular practice that moves the body and that you have physical activities. That is going to be key in order to take aligned action. And actually taking action is key to making the most of this transit. So, which house is Gemini for you? In that area, you can take a look at this list, and you can get a kind of a quick overview of what that house means for you. But expect big movement and action in that area of your life in the next couple of years. And remember that how you act and your choices, your decisions and your actions in this area of your life, they matter here, because this is an opportunity to uplevel your default state. And watch out for the shadow of Gemini in these areas, whichever area, whichever house Gemini is for you. Watch out for the shadow in those areas, because it can be easy to get stuck there and not move ahead. It can be easy to stay in the old story there and not move ahead or evolve beyond that. So, just another point of awareness. All right, so this brings us to the end of this video. And before that, I wanted to share with you some of the things that have been going on for me behind the scenes, and how my services are evolving, and how that's going to help you. So, I have been focused a lot on my main message, which is about helping you to express your unique self with joy. So, a lot of my work has been about utilizing the astrological transits to step into more of what our soul intended, because the natal chart represents the soul's intention for this life. And I am moving my focus more and more to that expression aspect, the communication, resolving karmic blocks and wounds around expression, and helping you to speak your truth. And my transformational coaching utilizes the tools of astrology, sound healing, and creativity to help you express your uniqueness and the unique fractal of divine creator that you are. And one of the big things that's coming up for me in the coming months is that I'm going to be going through on this beautiful quest called Color of Woman, which is a teacher training program for intentional creativity. And intentional creativity is something that has been a deep part of my own journey of finding my self expression and being able to express joyfully, resolving karmic blocks around expression, all of that. And I'm super excited about this. You will start to see me share more and more about this and my journey through intentional creativity, and bringing that more and more into my programs as well. Now, I'm still using astrology, sound healing, but I'm also adding on the creativity aspect. This has been a part of part of a vision that I received back in 2017. And I'm really delighted to be going on this journey for the next almost a year now on for Color of Women. So I'm planning new courses and workshops as well that will combine all these three modalities. And stay tuned for those updates. That's it for this month. I'm wishing you a quantum leap of joy and alignment with your highest path in the coming month. Wishing you a beautiful equinox. And let's stay in touch. If you would like to continue to hear about the updates I have, to hear about uplifting content and my offerings to help you to enable your sacred expression, there are many ways we can keep in touch: Instagram, Facebook, and my website. So, and I'll see you next month. Thank you. Bye.